that insecurity has become a big challenge, not only in the North Rift region, but in general across the country. And the kind of insecurity my colleague is talking about in the North Rift is not new, if you ask me. For as long as I can remember, it has been an issue we have lived with for quite some time. I have all the confidence that the country's security apparatus are in charge and that they are taking measures, putting in place measures to contain this situation. I don't quite agree that having policemen supervising security issues during exams is intimidation of the candidates. Because I can also remember very clearly, even in my early days, when I was a KCPE candidate in my village in Siaya, which is relatively a peaceful or secure area in this country. There are policemen, obviously, were attached to examination centers.
So during a time, where were they hanging around?
Well, it's basically to protect the candidates from any. Yeah?
How close did they come to the?
Well, in the school compound to take care of any eventuality. But again, Sam, I'm not a security expert. But what I know is that security is more than just having equipment and deploying men and women. Security would also require that there is cooperation. All stakeholders, including leaders like my friend Honorable Caleb Kositany. Because we need to share intelligence. We need also to pacify communities that have been warring against one another. We need to address the root cause of the insecurity rather than looking at the symptoms. Yes, some of the causes of these cases of insecurity are complex, and the leadership in those areas should be in the know. So I'd rather look at an approach that is cooperative, that is everybody playing their role and offering solutions or practical suggestions to those in authority, to those responsible, so that we address this issue collectively. Blame game won't help much, if you ask me. Blame game won't help much. I've seen my colleague bringing the issue of the security of the deputy president, which is neither here nor there. I don't think we need to start categorizing police regiments as either inferior or superior. The question
was if there's anything specific members of parliament can do.
Parliament has got a very robust mechanism of oversighting the security sector. Both in the National Assembly and the Senate, we have got committees responsible or in charge of security matters. And if I speak about the committee in the National Assembly, we have had a very robust team, led now by Honorable Peter Mwathi. And they have worked very closely with the executive in terms of coming up with solutions. In fact, we have also provided quite a chunk of budget in this term of parliament for recruitment of police officers. This is the time of parliament where recruitment has happened, not only in the National Police Service, but also in the prison sector and many other security agencies. So parliament is playing its role. What is remaining is for leaders, also coming from the various regions of the country, to cooperate with the security apparatus. We have got a very professional security apparatus in this country, because I've traveled a lot outside Kenya, and I know for sure that our security apparatus is very professional, is political, is up to the task. We just need to support them. Thank you.
Okay, let's listen to what Professor George Magoha, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, said about the start of the examinations.
We're going to use over 200,000 teachers and over 45,000 security agents. Even though the cartels are very active, especially in Telegram, they are getting nothing.
Wow, that was pretty short, but he's talking about security deployment and the invigilation deployment. And he's this morning in Kakamega County witnessing the opening of examination containers. The Interior CS, Fred Matiang'i, is in Machakos town, and he will oversee the opening and distribution exercise of examination materials at the DCC's office, Kithimani, Yatta Sub-County, before monitoring the administration of day one papers at various centers. CS Musheru of ICT is in Kajiado. CAS Sarah Ruto, still again from the Education Ministry, is in Uasin Gishu. PS Juan, that is Julius Juan, will supervise the examination distribution exercise in Kisii County. PS Kibicho, Karanja Kibicho, is in Nairobi County. At this moment, I believe he's in Westlands witnessing that. PS Fatma Chege from the Education Ministry again is in Nyeri. Next chairman Onsati is in Meru. Next CEO Jengere is in Langata, at the Langata DCC's office near Timor. And KCD CEO Ongondo will be witnessing the opening of containers in Kisumu Central Container. That is the examination container. And Speaker Kagusha, what are your reflections at this time? Of course, there's so many disruptions that have affected the Education Ministry, whether it's COVID situation, whether it's the election fever that is on, or even the insecurity situations that we have now.
Well, I want to start by wishing all the candidates the very best success in their examinations. And I would also want to point out that many of them need to understand that whatever they get as their grades should not really affect their lives after this, and they should not feel so pressured. We have seen a lot of suicide cases for some of the students who do not meet the expectations that they had. Of course, I have a niece and a nephew, James and Abigail. I want to really wish them well, wherever they are as they sit for those exams. I want to maybe just pick it up from where Honorable Wandai has left it and say that the role of the Parliament is pretty pronounced. And the Parliament, particularly the committees, for example, like the ones Honorable Wandai here chairs, are very important committees because they are oversight committees. And he has also mentioned the committee chaired by Honorable Mwadhi, which in the opinion of many Kenyans has been much more of a political cooperation committee rather than a security oversight committee.
What do you say?
The Mwadhi committee, if you look at the way it has been conducting its business, it's been checking the one side of government, you know, and controlling and ensuring that they don't get as much influence in this country. And I think that is where we actually lose it.
How do they do that?
Well, they focus the resources, they focus the capacity that is there on matters to do with politics. I think Honorable Kasitani put it very well, that there's a committee that instead, for example, of using our intelligence services, oversighting them properly, you find that they want to have these intelligence services much more, you know, for political reasons than security reasons. Take, for example, what we have on the front page of this newspaper, Inside the Yala Killing Fields, and you find that there are many Kenyans who are being killed in this part of the country, or even from other parts of the country, and they are being dumped in this river. And I have case in point of Grace Nyambura Maina, who has been killed in Odhaya, one of our residents from Mukurweini. And this girl has just been killed and has been thrown into a river. And you find that a lot of times, instead of our security services and intelligence services concentrating on these things for the good of all of us, they will much more be used for political reasons. For example, I was looking at how the chiefs and other government officials are being to report. Yeah, they're supposed to provide certain kind of intelligence. You know, we get that information also from, people who are in those services. You look at the kind of reporting they're being told to give to government. It has nothing to do with common mwananchi. It has nothing to do with the Wanjiko in this country. It has everything to do with political intelligence, because government want to be in control politically, and that almost all the resources are being deployed into this kind of an aspect. So I want to challenge my parliamentarians, Honorable Wandai. You chair very, very powerful committees. I think what we need to do is put government to check, push government to ensure that more resources are deployed to help these young kids. I can tell you, there is no amount of protection at the point of examination room that will help these children clear their psychological torture when it comes to the insecurity that they feel within themselves. If, for example, a problem arose around the area where the examination is being done, even those policemen who are protecting those classrooms where these children are sitting for exams are not safe. You know, if you are doing an exam and there are gunshots, far away or near your examination room, you will definitely be affected. And you can imagine, these are the same children who have been affected so seriously by COVID-19. I mean, where most of them were out of school for a long period of time, and now again they have to go again through this predicament where they are sitting examinations when they are threatened in their lives. I think at this point in time, we as a country need to focus our resources in the right direction. We need to focus our mind in the right direction, and we need to be honest and sincere with the work that we do. If you are a parliamentarian, for example, you need to ensure that you are putting all in this aspect of oversight, and putting executive to check. And if we do that, I can tell you, we will be able to provide better services to our people. We will push government to provide better services, including security services, to the people of this republic.
Okay, and I hear you. You said a few quite interesting things. I hope that the members of parliament can respond to that. Excuse me, but Haman, when you reflect on what's going on from an educator's perspective, how does the sort of situation that these young minds have gone through the past few months or years, whether it's the question of insecurity or even COVID-19 disruptions and what life has become in this country, how does it affect their long-term outcomes for what they may become in their lives?
Yeah, let me also wish the candidates well, general and those from Lombe Primary School where I come from, wish them the best. But having said that, before I answer your question, when I look at what's going on, high-ranking government officials scattered across the country, chasing a small squirrel called KCPE, police deployed over 30,000. I get thinking and wondering what's wrong with us as a country. An exam is supposed to be a very simple thing. We equate education to exams. In fact, some you may know that, you may wish to know that in some countries, even just telling the world or even a class what some candidate has gotten is an offense. If all of us are in a class, the teacher making us know Caleb got 20 out of 100. An exam is supposed to be a very, very simple thing. But we have glorified...
80 out of 100.
I think surely it should be 8 out of 100. He's a bright boy, eh? Now, you see, we glorify exams until even students commit suicide if they do badly. We must walk out of that. We believe in the label more than the labeled. This country must get out of exams and certificates. If you ask me, the amount of money this country is even spending on just people getting certificates. If that money was pumped into the economy in terms of savings, this economy will move faster. Having said that, I think you must also agree that the situation which our candidates are going through are anything but good. Beginning with those insecurity areas. Really, it's very difficult to operate in such an area where guns are, going off every other time, leave alone when you are doing an exam, even just a normal life. We must approach this security issue more seriously because people are laughing at us. We are doing things which surely people shouldn't be doing in the 21st century. People cutting each other and shooting each other like life means nothing. This is 17th, 18th century, not 21st century. So I don't want to join Speaker, my son, in blaming the police. The security forces in this country, like Wandai says, they do a lot of work. Let us also support them. There's a lot that needs to be done to improve policing in this country. But the problem, if you ask me, is we are approaching security matters in the way people used to approach security 100 years ago. It should be a multi-agency approach, a multidisciplinary approach. So if you go into a security zone, you need people who have learned a bit of geography or geology or whatever it is. They understand the terrain well. The Suguta case comes to mind, where police go there, and even just the atmospheric pressure in the Suguta Valley itself, the lack of oxygen, compromises our security. This is technical information they can get from experts. You are looking at sociologists, experts in culture and anthropology, who understand the people. You are going to try and fight people, but you have very minimal understanding of their culture. And then fighting them becomes so. I would urge Matiang'i and his team to do what the world is doing today. For every problem, get resources from very different areas in terms of knowledge and expertise and experience. When you come to COVID again, our candidates are greatly inconvenienced, having stayed home that long, you know, with a lot of economic hardships people have gone through because of COVID, and now expecting them to sit for exams, one, as if nothing has happened, and the two, packing in knowledge in them in the manner I read a book called Hard Facts, Charles Dickens, pump knowledge into them, as if these are human beings. So, again, when you look at what's going on in the education sector, you wonder, of all places, the education sector doesn't know the meaning of knowledge, the meaning of experts. If you ask me, instead of harassing a student to learn Form 4 and Form 3 work at the same time to sit an exam, there might be better ways. Maybe you can just test them at Form 3 level. And if they go to the next level, whether it be university or college, I can tell you as an expert, you won't find much difference. If you received at university a student who did up to Form 3 exam, and another one who did up to Form 4 exam, you may know very little. Any teacher will tell you actually Standard 8, Class 8, and Form 4, that's more of revision than studying. You get what I'm saying? So there's a way in which you can re-engineer the whole thing so that you don't stress candidates. Magoha and his team has done that which experts cannot recommend anywhere, anytime, in any country. You do not stress children. You don't overpack information to them because they're human beings. They can burst.
So in your view, what would have been the better way? Because parents have also complained that the 4 times a year is quite strenuous on their pockets.
That's what I'm trying to explain. I am saying, Sam, you talk to experts. Don't pretend you are an expert when you are not. And even if you are, enhance your knowledge by talking to other experts. We will tell you what an exam is. We will tell you when we set Class 8 exam, when we are testing Form 4 exam, what exactly are we testing? Most of it is Form 3 and back. Any candidate, any examiner will tell you that. Any teacher will tell you. Most of what is done at Class 8 today is mainly what was done Class 7 and before. So you do not press students, compress them.
So are you saying
stress them?
It would have been possible to test learners just shortly after Class 7?
I'm saying, how would it be impossible? I'm saying, do not force information into students. Give them, you know, this is a human brain. It's a human mind. If somebody was going to do something in 8 years, with the breaks in between, the breaks have a reason also. You see, remember in other countries, people go for break like 3 months. There's a reason why students need a break. You, in your own thinking, they don't need that break. The material must be covered at all costs. That's what I'm saying. And I don't have the answers. But I'm saying if we sat down as experts, we could get answers. Mago and his team don't talk to experts.
I want us to take a
Sam, I just needed to correct something.
On the side of your screen, you'll see some images of what's going on this morning, including CS Matiang'i, who is in Machakos. You also see one Jengere from NEC was at Timor. Or has been at Timor, but you wanted to say something. You know,
I just wanted to correct something. Yeah, very briefly. You know, Professor Manyora says I'm his son. Indeed, I'm his son. I schooled with his son Ray, Ledana School. And one day when I had no school fees, and the principal asked the students to fundraise for me, his son went home with a card. And Professor Manyora and his wife sent Ray with 3,000 shillings for my school fees. Wow. So I'm really his son, indeed. But he has, I think he has misquoted one of my comments. He has said that I am blaming the police. I'm not blaming the police. Police do a good job. And we know how much they try in whatever they are doing. In fact, the challenge is that the police are not supported, and that's what we are saying. If you look at the kind of reporting I'm talking about, it's not the police head who is formulating these reporting formats. No, it's coming from the executive. It's coming from the political heads. When you look at the kind of support and resources he says the police need to be afforded, it's not them to get that resource. It's supposed to be given through the system of governance. And that is where I'm saying, like our members of parliament, particularly the committees that Honorable Wandai here chairs, they need to provide or to push the government, provide those resources to support the police. Okay. Our police are very good and they know what they're doing. And many times they have even resisted so seriously to be, used for political reasons.
Okay. Oh, all right. Caleb, you wanted to...
Yes, I wanted to say something. When you were reading out the list of officials who have gone to supervise the opening of the exam papers. Containers, I expected the very loud Minister for Interior to be in Elgeyo Marakwet, but he has just chosen to go next door to Machakos. I want to know who was sent to Elgeyo Marakwet, because, I mean, it is a very serious issue, Sam. This is how casually these guys are treating this insecurity situation.
This
either the Minister for Interior would have been there, or the Bishop Makoha himself should have been there. And if not, then they should have sent me.
Makes sense.
At least they should have sent me.
The problem now.
Because that is where we need to know.
The list I have does not have any representation in Elgeyo Marakwet. Maybe they will in the remaining 2 days.
Yes. But you see, some even before you go there. First of all, you must understand what was the criteria that was used in terms of deploying these ministers and other officers to these zones. I don't think it is right that Honorable Matiang'i should have gone to Elgeyo Marakwet. Maybe there's a reason why he went to Machakos.
Yeah. So I think the reason why we don't have an opposition. Look at the opposition speaking on behalf of government. The reason we have in this country.
It's okay. It's the day for 1.2 million young Kenyans who are writing the examinations. And of course, here from Citizen TV, we can only wish them all the best, that they are successful in this endeavor. And like Speaker said here, whatever the learners will get, should not limit the heights that they can reach in their lives. We took a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about politics. You've seen the Deputy President in the US. Now he is in the UK. He's been saying a few things. What is his foreign mission? We'll talk about that and more when it comes to matters politics. Stay tuned.